Marijuana. It's also called weed, shake, ganja, and reefer. There are a ton of names, but marijuana has a reputation for being a safe drug. Truth is, there are no safe drugs. Even the ones a doctor prescribes can be extremely dangerous and addictive. But is weed actually addictive? Let's find out and see. Don't panic, it's organic, the slogan says. Weed got the reputation as fun and cool during the hippie movements of the 60s and early 70s. Popular TV shows and movies like That 70s Show and Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle portrayed weed abuse as being mildly intoxicating at its worst. Unfortunately, even casual marijuana consumption can permanently alter your brain chemistry. Hate to break it to you, but it's true. Dr. Susan Weiss, a director at the National Institute of Drugs, say that there's a growing literature all pointing in the same direction. Starting young and using frequently may disrupt your brain development. One study of 1,000 people in New Zealand showed long-term use showed a loss in neuropsychological functioning, equivalent to about 6 IQ points. That's the same effect as lead exposure. Yet the most chronic users will deny addiction, even as they go for their bedside wake and bake. "You can't get addicted to weed" is a dangerous refrain heard all across the world. In a sense, weed is not addictive in the same way that heroin is. Your body does not develop a psychological need for it. However, the active ingredient in weed, tetrahydrocannabinol, quickly invokes a resistance in the human body. More and more weed or weed products are needed to stay high. Now, some studies have also shown promise to help certain disorders like anxiety, pain, and sickness created from other drugs. That's all great, but many users will also experience intense cravings for marijuana, similar to the way a smoker craves a cigarette. We know why people become addicted. We understand why they don't want to quit. However, the majority of people who use or smoke marijuana do not become addicted. The use disorder of weed becomes an addiction when you cannot force yourself to stop using it despite having one or more compelling reasons in your life to do so. According to drugabuse.gov, only 10% of people will become addicted, a much lower rate than heroin or methamphetamines. Even with a rise in the prevalence of treatment facilities and staff trained to handle marijuana addiction, it is the forgotten addiction. Individuals are far less likely to admit addiction to marijuana than they would to, say, heroin or amphetamines. This is once again linked to popular depictions of marijuana in media and society as being a harmless drug, as opposed to the dangerous substance it is. This perhaps spurs the user to be afraid for being mocked for being addicted to weed. Don't be, ask for help. An additional word of warning: the rise of THC oil products such as dabs, wax, or butter makes it very easy to deliver massive doses of THC to addicts. This super dose of THC means that from the very first hit, the subject is already well on their way to developing an unfortunate resistance to THC. Consult with a doctor or addiction expert before starting a recovery journey from marijuana. Like all narcotics, it can be a tough process, but the payoff is absolutely worth it.